Of all the stupid, worthless stuff that games cram down your throat when you're playing it, I think collectibles are the absolute most common and annoying one. First of all, most games have collectibles for no reason besides filling out a checklist. They don't do anything, they don't give you any powers, they don't advance the story even a little bit. It's just there. Like, there's no point to get them. There are exceptions, of course, where games will give you powers or more lore or even weapons and armor for getting collectibles, but for the most part, a lot of them just have them there for whatever reason. Maybe extend how long it takes to get everything in the game done. And on top of them being worthless, there's so many of them. You never see a game with like 5 collectibles or 10. You see them with like 50, 100, a couple hundred even, like in the bigger games. It's crazy. And you know, if you're going to give me a huge bunch of collectibles to collect, at least give me a good way to track them. Don't make it like a mystery of where they are. Please just give me a list, give me an area, give me a map. I don't care. Just give me something so I can know where to look. Unless your map is literally perfect, no one wants to go through every crevice on top of every water tower to find like little useless collectibles. I think the biggest issue too is that they're always boring. Like, there's rarely any times where collectibles are fun to get unless it rewards you for exploring, which I like that a lot. But like most of the time collectibles are just walk around, follow a guide, get it, find the next one, find the next one, find the next one. It's like 400 of them. It's wild. And on top of that, a lot of the time they pad out the game's length so it takes longer to get everything done, which is really frustrating because a long game doesn't matter if it's not fun. Replace that like effort you put into making a billion collectibles into making fun missions or a side quest or even a cool, like, I don't know, piece of armor to find instead of a useless little knick-knack. Like, look, in a game like Uncharted, a collectible makes sense because the game's literally about exploring. It's pretty fitting. But in a game like the game in the background, Call of Duty, they have collectibles in their campaign. Who cares about them? And it's become a very common trend to have a giant, huge open world RPG game now, which is fine if it's good quality. A lot of them are really boring. And honestly, a lot of the issues I have with these started from like the Far Cry trend where they kind of made the blueprint for every open world game after that. You know, the Ubisoft type games where it's like the same open world. Find the like satellites to open the map, find the collectibles that mean nothing. Also, a quick side rant. Do you remember that game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Dude, that game's collectibles were so awful to get because of how awful the map was. Dude, that is the worst map I've ever had in a video game, by far. There are some points where I was so desperate because of how awful the map was, I was using like the sun to track my directions instead of the map. Basically what I'm getting at with saying that is that if you're going to put like a billion collectibles over your giant open world, please just give me a good way to track them. Now, some games, their whole focus is about just getting collectibles, and they're like the collectathon platformers. They used to be really popular more in the 90s, I'd say, like with Mario 64, like Banjo-Kazooie, or Donkey Kong 64, which is also just, from what I've seen of the game, I haven't actually played it, unfortunately, but from what I've seen of that game, it looks like absolute hell. It looks like the biggest, perfect example of awful collectibles, where you have to trade between each character in these giant big, like, I guess hub worlds. They're not really open worlds, but they're kind of like hub worlds, I guess, where like the levels take place. It's like you have to switch characters for every single type of collectible. It's like, dude, that's horrible. Who wants to do that? I guess what I'm getting at with this video is that most collectibles in games are not executed properly and they're just not worth getting at all. And I know the first thought that comes to most people's head when they listen to me complain about this is like, who cares? It's useless. It doesn't matter. And I agree. I don't disagree. I just thought, it's funny to complain about it because I've been through the process of getting collectibles in a lot of games. And I want to share some of my grievances because I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it. And actually, this video gives me the perfect opportunity to talk about a game that I've liked pretty much as long as I can remember, and that's Star Wars The Force Unleashed. First of all, I gotta say that game is really good at making you feel really powerful, but also the holocrons you get, which are the collectibles, they can give you stuff like force points, lightsaber colors, skins, etc., which helps you progress in the game with the powers, and of course it just makes you look cool, which is the best way to do collectibles, make them worth it like that. Another game series I think does collectibles very well is the Halo series. Now the Halo series has skulls, which unlocks like gameplay modifiers when you collect them, which I love that so much. And I mentioned Uncharted earlier in this video. I didn't mention the fact though that First of all, it makes sense that you're getting treasure as a treasure hunter in Uncharted. It just makes sense. But also, the treasures you do get actually unlock stuff in the game, like weapons and gameplay modifiers. I think really a lot of collectibles boil down to just extending gameplay time and keeping people into it, which is fine. I mean, you don't have to get them. It doesn't matter. And if you do have to get them, well, better make it fun at least. This is something that's semi-related, I guess, but it's just something I wanted to talk about. Bring back those secret characters you could unlock in video games, like Darth Maul and Shrek in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games. Bring those back. That was fun. And bring back cheat codes that are fun in games. Like, there's no cheat codes at all anymore. Like, I get why. I've heard the reasons why they're not really a thing, but I miss it a lot. Just put like a couple. Like, let me get a big head and infinite ammo or something like that. Give me a jetpack. Let me punch someone and have my punch make them explode. That's hilarious. I could do that for like 2 hours. Anyways, let's wrap this up. Please just make your games fun. That's all I'm asking. Just please make it fun. Don't make them boring. No one wants to do a chore list. That is all.